Hello, and welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Run Amok Podcast, home to the best Bachelorette recaps on this side of Indian Wells. As always, I'm your host, David Stahl, and I'm joined alongside me, as always, by my loyal compadre, producer Gary, to break down all the latest drama from our favorite franchise. Producer Gary, welcome back. Another week of fantastic, drama-filled reality TV. A new villain has emerged, as is tradition, as we predicted, and we cannot wait to break down everything that happened from this week on The Bachelorette. How'd you like the episode? First things first, let's start generally at the top. You enjoyed this week, you said?
Yeah, I think, was it last week we dubbed the best one so far? I think that was the case. I think it still remains the best one so far. This one wasn't bad, but you know, not everyone's going to be a 10 out of 10, so... But
everyone's gonna be a 10 out of 10.
7.5, you know?
Sure.
Not bad.
We'll get into it, but I don't like the one-on-one dates didn't really grab me.
Yeah, well,
the honestly dates themselves
completely forgot there was a first one-on-one date at all.
With Martin.
Yeah.
And like the dates themselves are getting replicated as well.
Yeah.
How many pillow fights have we seen over the years?
Too many.
We saw a race car date with Matt James and Jasenia just a couple seasons ago. So, hey, Bachelor producers, let's sit down and get our creative juices flowing a bit more. Let's get a good. I think the Bachelor producers just need a good, solid brainstorming session for dates. They need a date committee almost to come up with some new concepts.
Yeah, and if you guys need somebody to take that job on, hey, we're right here.
Hit us up. Hit us up. Off the top of my head. Shit! Damn it!
Race car. Shit.
Boating. A boat date.
No.
Date on a boat.
Pillow fight?
There we go.
Maybe
no
not.
Pillow fight. Yeah, just damn. Okay, now I get their mindset. It's tough. It's tough to pillow fighting.
Come on though,
it brings in the viewers.
A picnic would be cool.
Well, that's the thing. We'll get into it, but I liked the Rick date. Sometimes we can just go back to a simpler concept, and they were saying, oh, this kind of felt like it could be real life. It doesn't have to be sponsored by BMW. We're going around the track and drifting, and then we're going to go in this cold tub that appears to be a giant tire rim from a monster truck in a garage. It's just these weird dates. But anyways, let's start up at the top. First things first, we got to get the brooms out. We got to get out those yellow gloves, get out the spray bottles, the rakes, everything we need to do a little bit of housekeeping. What does that entail? Well, we're only asking a few things for you. Rate, review, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. The other thing, this is, again, say it every week, this is how you put a little, you'll notice there's no ads on here. We're not stopping midway through to give you a spiel on MeUndies or Credit Check or whatever. How you give us a little tip in the tip jar is just tell a friend, is just tell a family member, is just tell your driving instructor who keeps bringing up Bachelor Nation every time you go for a lesson. Anyone in your life who loves the franchise, well, we've got the channel for you every week, baby. That is what you can do for us. Other than that, just keep, again, rate, review, subscribing. That helps us out a ton, and we appreciate it. Now, jumping into some listener mail this week, we are going to give a shout out to a listener of ours, but I also got to hit you with a couple of great Twitter handles that I saw putting out a couple of tweets, Gary, because I like to monitor that hashtag. So if you want us to give you a shout out there, hit up just the Bachelorette hashtag, because that's where I'll be following the best tweets. Now, we had Rachel Rudine on Twitter said that, and it came with a perfect screenshot, but I feel like you just picture Chris S in your mind. Okay, Gary, the quote is, he's the work-obsessed fiance that gets dumped for the small-town lumberjack in a Hallmark movie, which... Yeah,
that's the perfect description.
Perfect description.
Nailed
that
it.
is precisely who he is. And then someone else said, this was the precise moment that Chris's villain origin story commenced, and it's him holding up his tidy whities. That one killed me as well, because you could, but you know what? I'm actually going to correct that. It started a little further back, and do you know what I'm alluding to? Start of the episode, The first thing they show, I think, basically, is Chris S. flailing back and falling in his chair, which is. Did you miss that?
I missed that completely.
Dude. Like, it's, I think, within the first minute and a half of the episode, so you may have still been situating yourself or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Situated, fair enough. And he sits back in the chair and it just flips over and he falls on his back. And it kicks off the episode. And everybody knows watching that he's going to be the villain of the week. We've gotten that with the previews. We know what we're getting into. I just love that. That's quite little
the double whammy,
metaphor.
Like toppling over in your chair and then receiving the tidy whities from like the girl of your dreams. Like,
well, I mean, I think that's where a bit of his frustration came from. Yeah. Like, okay, well, it's time to, shit's not going my way. Time to throw some people under the bus.
Yep.
And that's just the automatic mindset. But, and real quick, before we jump in, I also want to give a shout out to Brianna's Bachelor Breakdowns, one of our favorite channels out there. And she does amazing content as well, that offers a different perspective from us. So check her out if you're looking for more Bachelor content. But she was giving some love to Brandon, who I just want to go on record. Yeah. Again, those are the receipts. We've kind of been ignoring Brandon a little bit.
He's kind of snuck under our radar. We've been really focused on the Nayte and the Joes of the season.
Yeah. And then the drama and like, hey, what's going on with Clayton for Bachelor? That whole dynamic. There's a lot going on within this season. And Brandon's just kind of been pushed to the side a little bit. But hey, Michelle is very attracted to Brandon. It wasn't a great week for him. It wasn't like he wasn't winning any group date roses or anything like that. But oh boy, Michelle is into Brandon, it's like just from their physical chemistry.
Like if he got it, he'd be on the level with Nayte and Joe. I feel like he'd be up there, but
yeah,
he doesn't need it so far. So maybe next week we'll get a one-on-one with Brandon.
He'll be around for a while. I think we can definitely lock that in. Now, let's start with Martin's one-on-one. Okay?
Yeah.
Because we were talking before we started recording, Gary. This felt like we could barely remember that this one even happened, honestly.
Well, the whole date they were communicating via walkie-talkies because they were in different cars.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Very forgettable. Not a lot of chance for a real connection. Also, this show loves trying to murder its leads.
Yeah.
We've seen this time and time again. We've seen Rachel Kirkconnell, who obviously wasn't the lead, but ended up is now with Matt James, almost plummeted to her demise out of an airplane. We saw Katie Thurston flip like 4 times in an ATV, and they're like, okay, well,
if I'm not mistaken, too, Michelle was on the date with Matt James where they rappelled down the side of the building. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that.
And I'm pretty sure some stuff went wrong there too. So we could have seen the death of both Matt James and Michelle right there.
Yep. And they're back at it with Martin, who looks like, especially with this date, dude. I know I've given Martin some hate, and I'm going to continue doing so. He, like, when I saw him in that BMW, my first thought was, this dude looks like he could be the newest character in the Fast franchise, like named Zaz or something. like Vin Diesel pulls up to the garage and Martin's just working there. He's got his undershirt on, hands full of grease, and he's introduced to us as the latest character with the frosted tips. I cannot get over this dude's aesthetic. I don't know what it is.
It's weird because
I can't take him seriously.
A lot of people, I respect the aesthetic, but it can't be toned down. Ever.
It cannot be.
But you can't turn that aesthetic off. Even if you show up in a full piece like suit and everything, you still got the frosted tips out. And then the piercings. It's like
you have picked a very decisive direction.
It's very decisive. Like funeral, wedding, doesn't matter. You're still in party mode. Like
at all times.
At all times. It's just
you are ready to drop the beat. I
respect that he's rocking it. He pulls it off. Like, but
he does pull it off.
You got to be dedicated to pull it off.
But that was not the most problematic thing that came up during the date, because Michelle brings up Jamie. And we learned this episode, because we did question this during the premiere of the second episode, that why did Jamie bring up these concerns to Martin only about Michelle knowing Joe before? And we said, are they close? Because again, it's tough to know these dynamics in the house that we're not really privy to. They were close. We learned that. And Martin apparently thinks that Jamie kind of got dealt a bad hand, and he kind of goes to bat for him, which is like, maybe shut up. Jamie's gone. Like, hey, maybe
pretend he's a shit guy for 10 minutes.
Gary, I promise you, if we were on a dating show together and you got kicked off, and like, honestly, for the viewers, me and Gary are very good friends. I'd throw you under the bus without it. I wouldn't even think twice.
I do the same thing to you.
Of course you would. It's a dating. I'm gone. Once you're off the show, you're dead. You don't exist anymore in this bubble.
I pretend I didn't even know you were there in the first place.
Who's David? Who's Jamie? I don't even. Yeah, I would literally just not even acknowledge your existence. I don't get why. I think the priorities were just a little skewed, though. That Michelle is worried about Martin's friendship with Jamie. I think she should have been more worried about getting hepatitis from that cold tub. What are we doing? What is this? First of all, I thought it was a hot tub initially, and I thought that's the worst hot tub.
Because I thought it was a hot tub too.
Yes. Did a little digging.
Tub.
Did a little digging, meaning I kept watching the show. Turns out it was a cold tub. What? First of all, why? I'd love to hear the rationale of why they had to get in a freezing cold, what appeared to be like it looked like just metal fencing thrown onto the pavement.
Like middle of the day, Indian Wells gets pretty hot down there, but like, what are we doing still?
To be fair, it was one of the worst dates I think I've seen in a little while. Non-Paradise related, because Paradise had some rough ones. We've talked about that ad nauseum.
Michelle also gave me the vibe that no matter what Martin said, she was going to be offended by it. Like, I don't know why. She's like, even if he was so like, he seemed very impartial to Jamie. Like he was like, he's still a good guy. He's all right. Whatever. He's gone. It didn't seem like he was going to bat straight up for him. Yeah. But she still seemed like she was going to react the same way regardless. Unless like Martin went against him. But yeah.
Seems like she's feeling just a bit generally invalidated by the guys. And maybe that was just a little bit of a trigger point in terms of like, holy shit, enough. Like, just believe what I'm saying. Just pay attention. Like, not like she's begging for attention, but just like, see me and hear me for what I'm saying and what I'm like. It may have just been a little bit of a tipping point. And we obviously see that a little bit later in this episode.
Yeah.
I think my only takeaway, like, again, it was kind of a nothing date. We've probably talked about it more than we need to. My big takeaway, and I'm interested to hear if you agree, is generally just that I think she likes Martin a little bit less than she did last week. He gets the rose, but he had a lot of momentum. He was that guy who noted, she said at the beginning of this date, he's very observational. And he talks about how his communication skills aren't up to par. Also, little side note, every dad on the history of this show has been thrown under the bus. Every dad
sucked when I was growing up. It's like, okay, man.
Look, I'm not invalidating. I don't mean to invalidate anyone's experiences, but it's just every dad has been bad on this show. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was not great. How about you? How'd you?
I fully agree. As I stated earlier, I didn't even I forgot that it happened.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like it probably went on for 20 minutes showtime, maybe like 10, 15.
Yeah.
But it felt like 2 seconds. It was gone and it was out of my memory. And we can pretend it didn't even happen, honestly. We can just delete this part of the episode. Let's just restart. Start from the beginning.
Hello and welcome. So let's jump into our pajama group date, though, because we talked about Michelle feeling a bit invalidated. And we have a little bit of a slumber party with the guys. Now, my first note was initially that, these guys are so lame. But I got to be honest. If there's a Build-A-Bear station, if there's some cotton candy going around, if I'm with the guys, look, I'm self-aware enough to know I may have gotten sucked in. I think I would have gotten sucked in the exact same way.
That's my issue, right? Like, because I obviously as a viewer, you're like, come on, guys, pay attention. But as a male with a lot of
Build-A-Bear with the homies,
Build-A-Bear with the boys, like,
are you kidding me?
Doesn't get any better than that.
And there were so many hilarious snippets of like, oh, let's play Duck, Duck, Goose. Should we wait for Michelle? No. She can join in when she gets there. Let's go. I gotta get my Duck, Duck, Goose on.
I could put myself in their shoes so easily. So like, I'm not gonna fault them completely, but like, come on, guys, we're on a dating show. Let's get
also,
it together.
There was a line where it's like, I'm all for dudes being dudes. No one loves broing out like your boy. That being said, when we're getting to the ab punching challenge and they straight up give Michelle the stiff arm,
Dude,
like,
oh, that was
no,
so
sorry,
wild.
sweetheart.
You don't have to be part of this. Like, bro, what?
I think Olu was just like, hey, I don't really know if it's being talked about. Like, I am very jacked. I think he kind of came to the realization of like, I don't know if Michelle realizes how jacked I am. So he was like, I got the onesie. He's taking off half the onesie, showing off the abs, showing off the biceps, showing off those shoulders. He wanted people to punch him in the stomach. Michelle did get left to the wayside. Look, I'll be honest. Michelle, it broke my heart hearing her, feel kind of unseen, invalidated.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I thought, it wasn't I wouldn't blame the guys so much as I blame the producers. Like, it was a date that was built for distractions.
Well, and a lot of the times, like, especially on group dates, they don't really interact with Michelle all that much. Usually the Bachelor, Bachelorette's off to the side doing their own thing, watching chaos ensue.
And then they get the time with them later.
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's a bit of 50-50. I think the guys could have done a little bit more by including her, and she kind of overreacted a little bit. But I think she wasn't in the wrong necessarily. Like, I would have felt the same way.
Now, I don't want to speak for you. The second half of that date, the pillow fight. So I've had enough. Enough of the pillow fights. Enough of like hey, let's knock it. Hey, the guys gotta knock each other off the platform. First of all, we got to make these teams more fair. That was the biggest. It was simply one of the biggest blows I've ever seen on Bachelor Nation. Something between two teams. But it's just like, again, this is something that has no involvement with Michelle. Again, I'm chalking that up to the producers. Throw that aspect of the date out the window.
Well, when there's like a rivalry, right? Like, for example, earlier in the season when we had that big fight between Will and Peter, there was actually some drama there, and they faced them off against each other. But going into this one, everyone's kind of like on good terms. It doesn't really mean anything.
Who did Chris S go against? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I think because I remember Olu went against Brandon.
Yeah.
And that visual was hilarious. Because I essentially
Nayte?
No, because Nayte lost.
Nayte lost, and it wasn't to Chris.
It was not and I know for a fact Chris S also lost.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like, whoever Chris S faced didn't really mean anything.
It didn't really mean anything. Yeah, I agree. It was just, I don't know. But then we head into the group take cocktail party, which is what we were all waiting for. Basically, Michelle vocalizes that to the guys, which I always appreciate. She does a fantastic job. Everyone had a decent reaction. Again, Nayte, my man, I drafted you. I'm going to need a little bit more depth. I'm going to need more than I feel that. It's just a cooler way of Matt James's, thank you for sharing that with me. It's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I love both of them, but not really the most validating response. Olu's reaction, on the other hand, also Swolu. That's a nickname right there.
Name. That's so good.
Sick nickname. He seemed very genuine. He was crying. In fact, that was a very sweet moment, talking about how he relates to that because he's had those similar discussions with his sisters in the past. I like Olu a lot. I don't think he's. I don't know. He might. I don't think he's winning this. I wouldn't bet money on, but I could see him going to hometowns. Seems like a sweet dude, and also talks a lot of shit behind the scenes
and
in the
can
confessionals.
Most likely back it up.
And can back it up, but he's happy. I think did he say something about Rodney, or was that Malik? No, that was Malik who said something about Rodney, but he was talking trash about Chris S. He's happy. He was talking some shit about Brandon's physique as well. I just like that. That's what we love to see in the confessionals, is someone with some snappy lines. So I hope Olu stays for a long time. Do you have any thoughts on him?
No, yeah, I'm glad we're finally getting some depth from him, because it seemed like he was just kind of in the background till this episode, at least.
Yeah.
And to get like a little bit of a backstory and some some actual like depth to him, it felt really good. And I think, like you said, he could go far. Like, hometowns for sure. I could see that happening.
And again, I hate projecting people for Paradise, because I don't mean to say you're out of the show.
Yeah.
Before you're out of the show, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he's winning. and I can't wait to see him on Paradise. That I'll say it again.
Your favorite thing is just to be like, hey, this guy's gonna go far on Paradise. It's like, okay.
He's gonna go far on Paradise, and I've been right. I've been right before. Yeah. I know Paradise. Rodney, he's gonna do great on Paradise. Yeah. Can't wait. Brandon, my man, see you in Paradise. You're gonna do awesome. I know the dudes who work on Paradise. Peter, you're gonna be on Paradise, and no one's gonna go for you. It's Stradamus. I can see it in the future. Peter is gonna be someone who comes in early, because if he comes in late, it's just gonna be like literally nothing. He's gonna turn around and go back up the stairs. We'll see Peter again. We'll see Olu again. We'll see Brandon. We'll see Rodney. We got a lot of characters this season. I like the cast. Mm-hmm. Another character who I could see going into Paradise as well. Someone who I think is an evolved version of Connor B. Rick. We get Rick's one-on-one. Yeah. I think, and what I mean by that is I think Rick is Connor B. with more substance to him. Or I don't know how to.
He's less annoying, I'll tell you that.
He's less annoying. He's very into Michelle. I think that is the big parallels, that they're very into the league. Connor B was very much in love with Katie. Obviously more reciprocated, I think, from Michelle. She seems to like Rick so far. But yeah, we get a date that you and I both liked. I think I don't know if we mentioned that off pod. I think we mentioned it during the pod. We did like the Rick date, right? They're just basically going for a hike.
Yeah, and nice and simple, nothing crazy, nothing they've done a million. Like, sure, they've done it before, but it's like refreshing. We get to see like the landscape around where they are in Indian Wells. It was just good, and
yeah,
we got those. I don't know if they were probably producer planted. I would assume, right?
A trillion percent.
Yeah. So we get the producer planted notes, which was cute. I liked it. It's a good way to get depth out of people. Just like unforced, like just let it happen. And I thought it was a good idea. Like I thought it went over well.
Well, we kick off the date with Rick going, "Oh, just being out in nature, going for a hike. This is right up my alley." Yeah, my man. I mean, you're a 30-something white dude. Obviously, going for a hike is right up your alley. Yeah. Obviously, this is what you do every weekend. But that being said, I think it did work really, really well. I mean, yeah, my man. The wish box. I got to Google wish box after we finish recording.
I think it is an actual, like, it's definitely a thing. But
everything's a thing.
Zero chance that those were the notes that were in there.
Did you see the one written? It was like they had one written in crayon, and it was like, I want to see a love just like my grandparents, like trying to make it look like a little kid's. Who's writing that? The wish box. What are you talking about? They were 1,000% producer plants. You're telling me that they were all about love?
Yeah,
that's bullshit. I'm writing down. I like $1 million. Can I get $1 million? Is that okay? Yeah. Can I get something? Also, if you leave a pen and paper in the woods, I mean, you can't tell me you're not getting $1 million inappropriate things written all over, not only the paper, but the box itself is going to be absolutely defaced.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was planted in there. That's okay. But I will be doing my research after and figuring out just how much of a thing a wish box is. Sounds like it's other than that, strong conversation with Rick at dinner. We get deep at the wish box, starting with his dad, then we dive in a little deeper. Yeah, I don't know. It was a meaningful conversation. I liked it a lot. Rick, big on eye contact. A lot of eye contact during the date. Maybe he's trying to show off. Here's a question. A little bit of that eyeliner. Do you think he went with the 2000s boy band aesthetic look and went with a little bit of eyeliner? Because I've been
questioning it since episode 1, whether he's wearing eyeliner or not. If he's not, that's some like God-given. I don't even know if it's God-given, because I don't even know if I like it that much.
I know. I don't like it. I'll go on the record. Yeah. Come on the show and confirm whether or not you are wearing Green Day-esque.
It's so eyeliner. Faint that like you almost don't know if it's like an illusion or not. Like I don't even. if is it there or is it not? Like some angles you see it, some angles you don't. He does, however, have nice eyes, and I think that's why he's big on the eye contact.
You know what I think the definite, I think his most distinctive feature, I would call them kind eyes. He's got very kind eyes, kind eyes and a gentle soul, which I guess we'll see if that's what Michelle's looking for. Obscure Bachelorette artist. I made a mistake here. Not obscure. Andy Grammer.
Finally.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, Andy
However,
Grammer.
Obscure to me. I'll say this. I know Andy Grammer's songs.
Wagon.
I know Andy Grammer's songs, and everybody does. If you think you don't know him, look up the songs. But I didn't know the name. I didn't know him to see him. Yeah. I mean, it's about as close to obscure as
if you were a relevant artist and then now you're performing on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, you probably are not doing so well.
You're on the decline. I mean, come on now. Like if you've had big time hits and now you're performing for Rick, you're not even headlining a Nayte date. I mean, a Nayte or a Joe one-on-one. That's the
big time.
Do you think they look back and go, shit, I got bumped for the Rick date? Like Probably. They look back at the contestants and think, damn it, that's the headliner gig that I wanted. But then we jump into the cocktail party. And this is where things get interesting because our new villain emerges. And again, like we saw on Twitter, we did have a bit of an origin story with him falling back like a character on the Three Stooges, like Curly on the Three Stooges in his chair. And then we see him in his risky business tighty whities earlier. So we get little seedlings planted of Chris S's emergence into villainy. But it comes to fruition at the very beginning of the cocktail party. He gives Michelle her drink and addresses the group. And he basically goes, some guys think they have this in the bag, and I think that's bullshit. And everyone looks around like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, and he wasn't even a part of that conversation with Michelle at the cocktail party at the end of the group date, because obviously by looking at him, anyone would know that he was on the losing team. So he wasn't even there for that. And yet he's kind of co-opting what she says and projecting it on all the guys. I think this is the definition of little dick energy, because we've said, hey, Nayte and Joe, Joe especially is now like, that guy's got BDE, just that quiet confidence. He is worried about no one except his own relationship with Michelle. And Chris, I mean, infuriating, man.
Napoleon complex. He's just too short.
Napoleon complex. I'm always so curious what the mindset is with these guys. Dude, there's nothing sexy about a tattletale. Like,
that's the problem. Like, I think they said it. They were like, oh, he thinks he's gonna be her white knight or whatever. And then even himself, he says that he's like, I'm the white knight. I showed up in my armor. It's like, bro no, that was the
most insane part to me. Is I had written down like, this dude's trying to be a white knight. He literally called. I don't think he uses the exact words "white knight," but I did. Knight,
I'm pretty sure.
I wrote it down. Yeah, it's like I came in on my white horse and saved her from the castle she's been stuck in.
You called yourself a white knight, like let's be real.
I mean, unequivocally, dweeb behavior. Nayte. I think potential quote of the night is Nayte saying, "I think he's a dweeb." Perfect, dude. Dweeb is so cutting. Dude, someone calls you a dweeb, I feel like that just takes you down a couple notches, which Chris can't afford to lose.
Because here's the thing, like nerd and dork, they're kind of endearing, right? There's like
that's what we were discussing pre-pod.
But then you hit him with the dweeb, and that's just like,
to me, nerd can be a straight up compliment, or at least something that you can take pride in. It maybe has some academic connotations, some reference to your intelligence, maybe a little bit of a jab towards your social status, but still not necessarily bad. Dweeb, dude, I was saying pre-pod, you can be the CEO of a company. You can honestly be the captain of your football team and be a fucking dweeb. If you act like a Chris S, you can be a kind of a financial, a finance bro. He's probably a popular dude. He has a great job, it sounds like. You're still a dweeb. You can't escape that reality. I hate Chris. So he basically comes back. Well, okay, we do have to touch on this though. He's talking to Michelle, and did you notice he goes for the kiss?
I wasn't sure if I was seeing things or I misread the situation, but I thought that too. I was like, does he really think that he deserves a kiss after all this? Is that what, like, Brett, read the situation.
I'm stunned. I'm actually still stunned. And at first I was like, look, I am the kiss doctor. I put on the lab coat. We put on the denim lab coat. And I was analyzing. I thought, you know what? Maybe I was kind of in a similar boat to you. I thought, maybe I misread it. I go on Twitter. A lot of people talking about it. A lot of people uploading videos of that moment. And it's just a quick little... He goes, first of all, he goes full on trout mouth. Goes fish mouth, wide open. He goes... And she immediately goes in. She stands up immediately. So he's left sitting there looking at like her belly button because he's. I'm curious how tall he is, by the way, because his confrontations have been with Clayton and Nayte.
Yeah,
both
two
of whom
very tall guys.
Dude, Nayte is 6'8".
Yeah, I know. He's massive.
I am a tall dude. I'm 6'5".
So Chris could be honestly 6 foot, and he's just
But he's not. He's obviously not. I think he's. I think he's like 5'7". I think he's a very short boy. But yeah, I mean, at least his personality would indicate such. But look, what was so wrong about what Nayte said? That's my issue. And Nate's kind of, so Nayte basically, he taps him on the shoulder, says, "Let's go for a talk." And I know for a fact that terrified. That was Chris being sent to the principal's office. Was that little tap on the shoulder and having to go upstairs. And Nate's pretty much out like, "What'd you tell? Why? Like, get my name out of your mouth." And nothing is more infuriating when you're having a discussion with someone and you're being perfectly rational and they go, calm down. Like, stop gaslighting me. Be quiet. Stop. I'm calm. I'm telling you that what you did was wrong. But whoa. Chill out.
Yeah.
And Nayte talks with his hands, and Chris immediately goes full defense mode. He goes,
"Are you trying to hit me right now, bro?
You gonna put your hands on me, bro?" He goes,
No.
I'm trying to tell you that you're whack.
Yeah.
And so basically Nayte is like, what did I even say that was so wrong? Do you have any issue with what Nayte said? Because all he said essentially is, "I'm not worried. I'll get a one-on-one."
Mm-hmm.
If you've been paying attention, he is going to get a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And it's
like,
like, he never said he had it in the bag or like he's going to win the season or anything. He just said, "I'm going to get a one-on-one. Like, it's going to happen."
And that's what you got to tell yourself in this show too, probably, right? It'd be like, okay, my time's coming. Probably helps him embrace the group dates.
I wouldn't be surprised if we've heard like this every season from multiple guys who maybe never got a one-on-one. They were just being confident. You know, it's just you got to say it to yourself. You got to be hopeful. You got to be confident. You're on a show. Like, I don't know what to say.
She also ran away from, like, with you last episode. She ran away from the rest of the sheets. You have to be delusional to not think Nayte is getting a one-on-one. Everybody in that house knows that Nate's getting a one-on-one. Other than that, like, I get like I not to spoil it, we end up keeping Chris, but to get to talk about other people, strong showing from Joe. He's got the snacks. It wasn't really much, but it just showed. We were talking before we jumped on the pod, Gary. She seems very comfortable with your boy Joe. Obviously, for people in this last episode,
felt like a breath of fresh air seeing Joe come in too, because it was like drama, and then Joe comes in, who hasn't been involved in any of this the whole episode. Even
though it kind of centered around him last week, we didn't see him talk once to Jamie or anything.
Quiet confidence, sits
quiet
back,
confidence.
Doesn't get
that
involved.
Is exactly what he is. Yeah, very quietly confident, and they seem very comfortable with each other. I like Joe a lot. If people who missed last week, Gary, you drafted Joe as your winner. I took Nayte. I think if Carson were, of course, we're missing our third compadre. If he were able to make it this season, I think he would have taken Brandon, maybe Olu, but I think it's a two-man race. We did talk about that last week. Maybe Rick, maybe eyeliner Rick. Yeah, perhaps. But other than that, Rodney, again, I love my boy Rodney. I can't wait to see him on Paradise. My man. Secret handshake, not the way into the friend zone. No, that is a move that
back into the friend zone.
That's a move a lot of
the handshake
guys use to try to get out of the friend zone. They'll make a handshake never the way. Also, I think there is also a huge danger in getting a one-on-one early because they're not going to have one-on-one time for a long time now.
Well, that
right?
I think is that what we saw with Greg. Kind of, he kind of like faded into the background after.
And they do
his
not have the
rise.
same connection.
No, exactly.
As Katie and Greg did, especially with someone in the friend zone. It's like, okay, now you're kind of going to be riding that friend role through group dates, I think, and being that source of levity and sunshine, which is great. Ronnie's a great dude. I just think for him, like, it might be a curse as much as it was a blessing. But that being said, a good week for him. Lastly, I just had written down, she's very attracted to Brandon. She just seems very physically. I know his poem was good. I don't know if they're quite on the same level. Maybe not intellectually, that seems harsh, but just maturity wise, Brandon seems a lot younger than her.
Mm-hmm. I get what
but physically, they're very into each other.
Yeah.
I will say that. Yeah. So no issues there. Rose ceremony. So heartless of the producers to make Chris stand beside Nayte. Like, come on now. At least put him beside like a Rick or someone semi-normal sized.
Nah.
Towering over him. Also, dude, Chris is such a cornball. He goes, oh, I love that Olu confrontation of just the awkwardness of Olu being like, I don't think you're getting a rose. And Chris being like, I know I'm getting a rose. Chris was right. He keeps
That's
planning.
crazy that he was that confident though, because it didn't look very good for him. But
he was super confident. I think like he really thought, I'm the white knight. I've saved her. Like he just no self-awareness in terms of how that was coming across. My favorite part about
this is such dweeb energy too, is he's like, I'm gonna get that rose and I'm gonna wink at Olu. I'm gonna let him know, like, hey, I got this rose. Guess what? Didn't wink at him. Pulled back on. He's like, I didn't wink at him, but he knew. He knew
I wanted to wink at him.
Come on, man.
I didn't wink at him, but I blinked soon after. Like,
okay, Chris.
To be fair, everyone does that. Everyone fantasizes after a confrontation, but how it would go. But dude, shut up! Yeah. Like, do you not see how big of a I guess he does have BDE, big dweeb energy.
Yeah,
he does have big dweeb energy. But he survives to next week. Okay. Also, he says, "Oh, I have a huge target." Like, he happily is talking about how he has a huge target on his back. At no time on this show has having a huge target on your back been an advantage. That's never been a good thing. Like, being in, if we're talking about this from like a game perspective, like a survivor strategy perspective, being in Joe's position is the spot. You want to quietly be going under the radar.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy involved socially with conflict at all. Especially if she doesn't like you that much.
Yeah.
You just want to go I'm trying to think who's still in. Like, I don't know if Casey went home. We lost guys like Romeo and Chris G, who I did like. You want to go the route of those guys, though, where it's like, maybe if I'm just quiet enough, I can slip through a few more weeks.
Yeah.
That should have been like, Chris should have been hiding behind Nayte physically and just been like,
I'm not here, I don't exist.
Maybe I can just slip back up to my room and no one will notice I didn't get a rose. That should have been his approach, but he goes the other route. Let me say this though, because we haven't really gotten a lot from him. How do you feel about Leroy? He is a biomedical PhD student. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He wore those floral pajamas.
He hasn't got any screen time. Like, I know
no screen time. But I would love more screen time.
I wouldn't be surprised if half the people that watch the show don't even know who he is, because like
that's what I mean.
We don't even get confessionals really. Like, maybe like once, maybe
nothing. I think it was about how Michelle looked good in her pajamas. I think we got one line.
I think we'll get some more from the next episode though. Yeah, I think there has to be something there clearly. Like,
I can only like what I've said, but I think he has like a real. I suppose he's a student, but a very real degree and career pursuit. Very good-looking guy, seems to have a great fashion sense. I think there's a lot there.
I think there's.
Dare I say?
Don't say it.
See you in paradise. See you in paradise. The kiss of death. The David Stahl kiss of death.
Honestly, I can co-sign. I'll co-sign that one because.
Hell yeah, he could pull off Connor B's rompers better than Connor B could.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I would love to see them side by side in those things.
Yeah. Now we get a little bit after she hands out the roses to people, they're doing the toast, and she says, I'm heading to Minnesota. And there's a moment of like, oh my gosh, is she going back to Minnesota alone? And she goes, and you're all coming with me, motherfuckers. And then she says, I'm going to prove that the Midwest is the best. You are the first person in the world to ever say that. No one has said the Midwest is best, but she's going to try her best to prove that next week. Yeah, I'm very, very eager to see, because we did see, I'm a little bit mixed on going back to someone's hometown this early.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I agree with you there. Like my initial thoughts was I was excited about it. Yeah. Because just a change of scenery is always nice, and plus the traveling aspect, you know, I'm loving to get that back after 2 seasons of just being locked in a hotel basically. So that's nice. But yeah, you're right. Like I doubt we're gonna meet the parents this early, but maybe because Peter's season.
Oh, very yes, great callback, Gary.
That was horrible. Like that was
and who was that? Good. I think it was no, it wasn't Hannah Ann. You know who I think it was? I think it was actually I forget her name, but it was the Chris. Oh, I think Madison. Oh, dear Lord, that would have bugged me. That would have bugged me for the rest of the episode. Yes. Madison, I think, was there for his parents' vow renewal. Yeah, a very heavy first date, and so I'm wondering. I don't think it'll be a vow renewal, but I'm wondering if someone's going to get that treatment again, which I don't like. Didn't work out for Madison because Peter's mom. What's her name again? Gary? Barbie girl. Barb was not a fan. So I mean, it's such a weird dynamic to meet someone that early and then say, well, I might not be around in a few weeks. Like what? Like what if
too early? Like
it's too early.
Let's explore the hometown, sure, but let's stay away from the parents till hometowns. Let's keep
Yeah. But we'll see. It's going to be electric. It's going to be electric, and we'll get into it in a second because it's time to jump in to our roses and our thorns, Gary. That's our highlight and our low light of the episode each week. Let's start with, do you want to start negative or positive?
I'm actually going to pull a switch up on you this week. Something we've never done before. Don't be too alarmed. But I'm going to have you do rose and thorn, and I'm going to do my rose and thorn after.
Whoa.
Yeah, spicy.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah, there's a reason. It's because they tie in together.
Okay.
Reveal.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start off negative. I got to say, my thorn, we just talked about it. And again, I have multiple because I cheat every week and I can't narrow it down. My first one is going back to Minnesota because you drafted Joe and I drafted Nayte. And we said pre-pod, I think I'm in a lot of trouble. I think this could be enormous for Joe and Michelle. They're back in familiar territory, especially in a dynamic where there's so much unfamiliarity. There's so much instability. And Michelle is back in a place that she loves and she associates very strongly with Joe. Yeah. I think that this could potentially just put a seal on the season. Like we might look back at this next episode and go, well, that was when they probably could have called up Neil Lane and gotten the ring. Yeah. We'll see. So that's got to be my first rose. My second rose, it's got to be Chris's kiss attempt. Or no, my thorn. Whoa. It was so thorny. It's almost a rose. I
honestly didn't even really second guess when you said rose because it was hilarious to watch.
It was horror. It was literally like a train wreck. Like you just cannot look away. It was so graphically horrible. And my rose it's got to be Dweeb. I mean, Nayte absolutely cuts down Chris with that. Carson would have loved it. Carson loves the use of a proper use of a cutting word like that. Dweeb is just perfect, and it doesn't get used enough. And that's exactly what Chris was being. So I love it. All right, Gary, but hit me with it. Part 1 and part 2. Rose and thorn combo.
Yes. It's not the craziest thing you've ever heard, but so my thorn is going to be the group date, the pillow fight, all that, where they ignored Michelle, kind of pushed her off to the wayside, upset her so much. And then my rose is going to be them redeeming themselves later at the end of the group date, kind of opening up, kind of apologizing, especially Olu. Obviously, we get that super emotional conversation with him, and he opens up and he apologizes, and he feels so bad. Especially because he was one of the people that like straight up said, Michelle, like, get out of here, like, like crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, Michelle, when did you get here? We're doing stomach punches.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that arc of them just kind of like pushing her to the wayside, and then it kind of comes around and they tie it all together and everything's kind of good at the end, which
I love that.
I thought it was
that's
good.
That's a great 1-2 punch. At first, all it was so emotional that it kind of threw me off, because we've seen some, like, hey, Indian Wells is hot. We've seen some sweaty boys. Yeah. I thought that he was just sweating
from every orifice,
sweating out of his eyes, like a classic excuse. No, boys, no. I'm good. No, it's just I'm sweating out of my eyes from one of those gut punches. No, he was openly emotional, not only in front of Michelle, but in front of the guys. Which I'm not saying anyone's faking tears or anything, especially someone like Olu.
No, if anything, those
but to cry in front of the guys,
genuine, because he felt so offended, like, of himself that he even was a part of that. He was like.
Totally. And right in front of the other guys, before even talking to Michelle, was just streaming out. That I love that, Gary. The great 1-2 punch. I'm very excited to see how Minnesota goes. Again, you might just wrap up the season.
I do have Joe, so we'll see.
But again, it's also a high pressure thing. I think the expectations for Joe are a lot higher. It may be, but here's a little prediction. Might be one-on-one date time for our boy Joe. Yeah,
I think that would be game over. Because he would he could have a say in planning it and everything. He could be like, we're going
he gets to plan the whole day. Oh boy, it'd be game over. Game over. Yeah. They'd just be shooting hoops the whole time.
Probably.
But all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Again, rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Give us your thoughts below if you're agreeing with us, if you're disagreeing. Hit us up on the clips. We'll get back to your feedback next week as always. Producer Gary, remember,
a wet bird never flies at night.
All right, thank you guys. Peace.